This offseason, the Islanders have a massive opportunity to bring in a young scoring forward that the team has desperately needed for a very long time. The Islanders have officially been linked to one of the top trade targets on this offseason, and unlike other teams that are interested in this player, I think the Islanders legitimately have the pieces needed to get a deal done. We're going to break it all down on this episode of Islanders Digest, but really quickly, before we get into that, we notice that 66% of you who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you're an Islander fan, you want more Islanders content just like this, what are you waiting for? It's free. Subscribe to the channel. Join this Islanders community on YouTube. And today we are talking about JJ Purka, and I am so excited that the Islanders are linked to this player. This is a player who is super exciting, has a ton of potential to score a lot of goals, and is still very young. And while he was first put on the trade bait board, I was very interested in Purka, but I did not know if the Islanders were willing to move the pieces needed to acquire a player like this. And now it seems like not only are the Islanders in on him, but the pieces they would need to move to bring him in are potentially available. We're going to get into all that on this episode. First, talking about why Purka would be such a good fit, and then later on talking about what the Islanders could get, what the Islanders could offer in return. And this is a deal that can make a lot of sense for the Islanders. But first, Frank Cervelli has officially linked the Islanders to JJ Purka. And in this podcast, if you listen to the full thing, he really thinks the Islanders are a legitimate contender to land this player. He's actually the second team he mentioned when asked about who is in on JJ Purka. I think the Islanders are very interested in this player, and of course they should be. This makes total sense from an Islander fan perspective. I mean, just look at Purka's stats. I actually did not know until looking at the stat sheet that his first name was John. Had no clue what JJ stood for. I guess I assumed that JJ was his name. But just look at the stats. JJ Purka is 23 years old. 33 would not be good for the Islanders at all. But 23 years old. He was drafted in the second round in just 2020. And this is a player who last season in 77 games scored 27 goals. The year before that, 28 goals. So in back-to-back years, this is a player who scored over 25 goals, and he is just getting better every single season. His rookie season, 32 points. The next year, 50 points. Last year, 68 points. And keep in mind, this was on a Sabres team that is not very good offensively, a team that struggles very much on the power play. Now, yes, the Islanders also struggle on the power play, but this just shows this is a player who could score goals on the Islanders. This is not a player who is just taking advantage of being in a really good situation. This is a player that you can likely expect to score more goals if paired with a playmaker such as Mathew Barzal. And you might be wondering why the Buffalo Sabres are interested in trading this player. And, well, ideally, they wouldn't. The reason the Buffalo Sabres are likely trading JJ Purka is he does not want to be in Buffalo. And you can't really blame him, especially with how things have been going. It would make total sense for the Buffalo Sabres to try to hold on to this player, but it seems like he does not want to stay. And as a result, there have been a lot of rumors about offer sheets. And in an offer sheet situation, the Buffalo Sabres likely would not get the best return. I think there was some talk about the Rangers basically threatening that they will offer sheet this player if the time comes. Now, the Islanders are not a team that is going to be throwing offer sheets this season. We know that. While offer sheets are really fun to think about, the Islanders' first-round pick next year can potentially be very valuable. And as a result, offer sheeting a player who's going to need a big salary, such as John Purka, is not going to make sense for the Islanders. He likely would require a minimum of $8 million to pry away from the Sabres. It would likely cost even more, because realistically, if you're the Sabres and this guy gets offered $8 million, you're matching it. It's expected that he wants a minimum of $7.5 million on his next contract long term. Though the focus with Purka is not really the contract ask, more that he does not want to be in Buffalo. And as a result, while the Buffalo Sabres are reluctant, they are shopping him, and just because that he is an offer sheet target, and there is a common knowledge that if he's not traded by July 1st, that he likely would accept an offer sheet, the value is a bit low on Purka, but still, it's going to cost a lot to get him. So you're probably wondering, what could the Islanders possibly offer for Purka, keeping in mind that he is in Buffalo, meaning a lot of the Islanders roster players, because one thing we do have to consider, Buffalo is not looking to start a rebuild again. They're not looking for draft picks. They're looking for players who can play now, and that becomes a bit of an issue. If you look at the Islanders roster, there are a lot of no trade clauses, and I guarantee you it's not even worth discussing. If a player has a partial no trade clause, even if it's just a 10-team list, I guarantee Buffalo is on that list. It's been one of the biggest problems when it comes to the Buffalo Sabres trying to get out of this mess. Nobody wants to go to Buffalo. I mean, Purka doesn't want to stay in Buffalo. So you might be asking, what can the Islanders offer in return? And the answer is Noah Dobson. The Buffalo Sabres have been desperately looking for a right-handed defenseman with skill for a long time. They drafted 3 defensemen in Dahlin, Power, and then traded for Bram on the left side, which really does not make a ton of sense from a Buffalo perspective, having 3 players who likely can be in your top 4, if not top 2, all playing on the left side. That has not worked at all. And it's clear by the fact that they brought in Bram. They're looking for more puck-moving defensemen, but they need somebody on the right side. And as Elliot Friedman has reported, the Islanders are not shopping Noah Dobson in the sense where they're looking to trade him, but they're checking out what's out there, especially with the contract ask Noah Dobson is asking for. Looking for around $11 million. Well, I don't think you get that. It's looking like the cheapest you're going to get Noah Dobson for is around 9.5, which to me is a bit too much money. And as a result of that, the Islanders are looking around, and Noah Dobson is a player who could make a lot of sense in a trade for JJ Peterka. In fact, would be the bigger player in this trade. In fact, the Islanders would be getting more in return just because Noah Dobson has more value. And Noah Dobson, unlike other players on the Islanders, has no trade protection. So this is a situation where the Islanders can move him to Buffalo. And also from Dobson's perspective, if any team is going to just blindly give a defenseman a ton of money after a rough season, it's going to be Buffalo. I mean, they signed Owen Power before even him having a true prove-it year. So this is something that would definitely interest them. And now talking about this trade, the Islanders would likely want a bit more in return. And when I say a bit, it's probably a lot more than a bit. In fact, in this article from NYI Hockey Now, it's speculated that a trade involving Dobson and JJ Peterka could also have the 9th overall pick from Buffalo coming the Islanders will get away. Again, we've already talked about Buffalo does not want any more prospects. In fact, they do have some prospects. It's worth noting, though, a lot of their players who are skilled that have been drafted in the past are already on the team. Their prospect pool actually is not that much better than the Islanders. Still, that 9th overall pick, it's clear that Buffalo does not want to draft again. In fact, if Kevin Adams does use that 9th overall pick to draft a player, it's likely he will not still be in Buffalo by the time that player plays an NHL game. So as a result, this is a pick that could be expendable as well, especially if the Buffalo is getting a player like Noah Dobson in return. Now, likely the Islanders would have to send another pick back, perhaps a second or something like that, to really even it out. I think Dobson doesn't deserve Peterka and a 9th overall pick on his own, but that's really what you're looking at when it comes to a trade like this, and it makes it much more feasible for the Islanders to land this player compared to other teams who, of course, everybody is interested in JJ Peterka, but they don't really have what it takes to give up. And what's really interesting about that 9th overall pick, I mentioned it really quickly. I know everyone's going to want to talk about, oh, you could use that to potentially move up and get James Higgins. And yes, that would definitely be a possibility, and that would definitely intrigue the New York Islanders. When I look at that 9th overall pick, it's actually exciting because originally the Islanders were supposed to be drafting 10th overall, and as a result, I did a lot of work looking at the players who are expected to be in that range, picking players who I think would be the best fits for the New York Islanders. And while I was super ecstatic when the Islanders got the 1st overall pick and moved all the way up in the draft, it did mean I could no longer use that research really on this channel because the Islanders are no longer picking in that range. But if the Islanders got that pick back, one player that would be of interest for the Islanders is Radim Murkta. He is a huge defenseman, 6'6", plays the right side, and that's definitely something that would be intriguing, especially considering in this trade you're trading away Noah Dobson, which means you're likely going to need a new right-handed defenseman prospect in the future. I think that makes a lot of sense. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I am not the one to say I don't think the Islanders should trade Noah Dobson just for the sake of trading him. But if you're getting a player such as JJ Peterka in a package back, this is the type of scenario where I think it makes sense to move Dobson, because Dobson has a ton of value. There's a reason why he's asking for $11 million. He's not going to get it, but there's a reason why he's asking. That 70-point season was incredible, and many teams are going to look at that and be willing to offer him big money in the hopes that he brings that back. And as a result, I don't think you should just trade Noah Dobson. But for a player like JJ Peterka, a proven 28-goal scorer, someone who can likely score 30-plus goals, again, he's only 23. He's only getting better. He has not reached the top of his game yet. As a result, I think a player like that, especially if you're getting a package for him, does make a lot of sense in a trade. Another thing that makes sense for me is a player like Jason Robertson. And in that case, you likely don't get anything else. It's just a one-for-one trade. It has to be something like that if it makes sense for the Islanders to move Noah Dobson, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If you're a Buffalo Sabres fan, would you accept a deal for Noah Dobson, such as a JJ Purka and your first-round pick? And if you're an Islander fan, what do you think about that deal? Love to know your thoughts in the comments. Have hockey discussions with you guys below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. My name is Patrick Nyland. Catch you on the next episode of Isles Digest. Likely have another one tonight. So much is happening in the NHL right now. Until then, see ya. Let's go, Islanders.